Murphy Center was conceived by Dr. Cope because the Memorial Gymnasium got too small. So Dr. Cope, like he did on the football field, looking for a way to take care of basketball. We appointed a committee, Coach Murphy and Jimmy Earl, who was basketball coach then, Coach Reel, and Dr. Reel, who was chairman of the physical education department, Charlie Pigg, who was helping coordinate campus planning. And we flew around the country, and Dr. Cope went with us and looked at facilities. We were thinking about, coming off the parking lot over there, coming in at entrance level, walk down to the seats, and the playing floor being at a lower level, and appeal to us from the lay of our land over there. Murphy Center is supported only by 4 columns, and then it's designed by computer, so the roof deflection would take care of it. Is designed with steel roof trusses, and deflection would take we have an overhang here that keeps from collecting too much in the center between those columns. And by that time, had an architect from Nashville who was creative, and he designed that building by computer in a new way with only 4 columns in it, and it lends itself so you don't have to worry about columns being in your way when you're sitting watching the ball game, and you can make the structure just about what you want to. And it turned out to be probably the most useful building we ever built on the campus.
In 1973, I guess, early 73 or late 72, Murphy Center was built. So there was the Battle of the Borough. At that time, the county schools had closed and consolidated into Oakland on one side of town and Riverdale on the other. Lascassas consolidated and went into Oakland High School. So in the Battle of the Borough, Oakland and Riverdale took the court, and if I'm correct, it's the first basketball game that took place. And but I just remember it just seemed so big,
loud, I bet.
And loud and big. There was just so much room compared to the county high schools that we played in. And even for Oakland, it was so much bigger. It was like so much. I played defense, and that was prior to 5-on-5. It was 3-on-3 on each end of the court. Just seemed, and I was guard. It was just a lot of land to cover. It seemed like.
Elvis was at Murphy Center several times, wasn't he?
He played there in the course of 2 years, 5 times.
Now, was that through this office?
Yes, it was through student program. Murphy Center had just opened, and we knew that it would be a good venue for concerts if we could just find a way to get into the mix. How do we go? How do you book these things? Mm-hmm. So we just took a step back and said, well, how does this whole business work as far as the nation's concerned? And it became pretty obvious that instead of calling up a booking agent and trying to book a group that this agent represents, that these agents are selling these acts to national promoters who in turn buy 5, 6, or 7 dates on them and then place them in these different halls that they go in and rent. Mm-hmm. So that's how that's how our approach was. Let's approach this from that respect. Let's not snuggle up with the booking agents. Let's snuggle up with the promoters, and all we've got to do is show them we're not looking to make a killing financially there. We're trying to offer a service. We just don't want them to put ticket prices so high that nobody can attend. Mm-hmm. But we're offering a service on our institution to get people on our campus, and that's pretty much how that whole thing came about. Now, as far as the Elvis Presley thing, yes, we said if we could attract something like that, we'd be in pretty good shape.
Tell me some of the concerts that stand out in your memory that were just tremendously successful, or wish you hadn't gone there and done
Well,
that.
you got to mention Presley first because I think that's the show that put us on the map. The 5 dates, we did 2 dates in March of '74, and then we did 3 dates in April and May of '75 the following year in '75. And I think all 5 dates were sold out, of course, and I think we got people on our campus that had never been on our campus before for that, and I think they had a good experience with it. So, and I think it also established us, Murphy Center, as a viable venue to do concerts. The Elvis story that I remember happened between his April date, the 2nd year, and his first May date. Elvis came in here to play that show and was a sick man. He was not well at all. As a matter of fact, he was jaundiced. I asked the security guard with him, Charlie Stone, I said, "What's wrong with him?" And he said, "Oh, he just been under a sun lamp too long." He went out there and he did his job. He knocked them all dead. And after the show's over and he leaves the stage, we backed the limousine into the building, for him to ride out. When Al DeVornick said Elvis has left the building, he indeed had. But he walked through those double doors and completely collapsed. And went into a convulsive state. And the 2 West boys and Esposito grabbed him, picked him up, threw him in the back of that limousine, and off they went. And I remember standing there with Bill Smotherman, who was then the director of that facility, and I believe it was Matthew Royal, who is now a detective with the sheriff's department, who was campus security at that time. And we agreed not to say a word to anybody about that.
There's some fabulous names here. Alabama.
Alabama, we played, 4 or 5 times?
Yeah, they're on here several times, and looks like looks like it was a successful concert.
It was. We certainly caught them on their time.
And I remember the Judd's farewell concert.
That was a big deal there because that went out pay-per-view. We took a week in putting that thing together. We had to build the stages and camera locations and railed camera slots, and that was a big deal.
Garth Brooks looks like that was a big deal too.
Garth played here 5 times, and I guess probably more money generated from all 5 of those than any other single artist on it.
That's what it was looking like. Got some wrestling here too.
Yeah, we did a little both WWF and I can't think of the other one now.
Oh goodness, American Gladiators.
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
We did that.
You remember the events at the Alumni Memorial Gym, like the Globetrotters were there, and I remember the Smothers Brothers, and there's some others, I guess.
The Kingston Trio came. These are the ones we went to. I think there were others, but we went to see the Kingston Trio, and I guess the Letterman were my favorite group. They were my favorite group, for
And in
sure.
later years, they moved it to the Murphy Center, and you got to see Elvis twice.
I did get to see Elvis twice, and that first time I didn't think I was going to make it because I was expecting our second daughter, and but I made it. And she was born a week after.
One of the experiences I was able to get from this university was something I don't think we've really experienced in a long time. The Murphy Center used to host concerts, lots of professional concerts, artists like Alan Jackson, Def Leppard, Reba McEntire, just a huge variety of artists actually came here, and working with the student programming office, I saw dozens of concerts over a 4-year period. That opportunity seems to have almost virtually disappeared.
When Elvis came to Murphy Center in 1974, students across the campus were really excited because it was such a big event. He had not played anywhere in Middle Tennessee for ages. So we all tried to get tickets. I was lucky enough to get some. And when I was there, It was quite the happening. Not only did he bring all of his fans from the 50s and 60s, a lot of them dressed in tight tops and hot pants, he also just brought a lot of energy to the building. I've never seen anything like it. When he hit the stage, a band of flashbulbs just followed him from one end to the other as everyone had out their cameras trying to capture a moment of the king at Murphy Center. He played a lot of his favorite songs and a lot of old songs, and the crowd would get into it and sing along and jump up and down. But the song that we remembered the best, that we really liked, was when he did the American Trilogy, a Mickey Newberry song where he sang parts of the Battle Hymn of the Republic and Dixie, and we just thought, oh, this was way cool. Elvis was actually doing a contemporary song, not just everything from the 1950s and 1960s. Of course, when Elvis left, everyone wanted to know, now where did he go in Murfreesboro back then? And where he actually went was out at the Ramada Inn that still survives out on South Church Street. And that was the king's lair for a night before he went back home to Memphis. Now, none of us knew this, or we probably would have gone out there to check it out, but we found this out later, that Elvis, when he left the building, actually didn't leave Murfreesboro. Another great thing about those concerts, though, was that the Elvis Presley Enterprises, the people who run Graceland down in Memphis, has released a CD of the Murphy Center performances known as Dixieland Rocks. If you can ever get a copy of this, you can hear him actually praise Murfreesboro, talk about being at MTSU and what a special time he had. I didn't remember any of that until I heard the CD. So Elvis coming here, he did 3 shows. It was by far the biggest concert in all of my time at Murphy Center during the early 1970s.
But you know, there's another thing that's a big difference is when I was here, they actually had music groups come into Murphy Center.
Yeah.
Which they don't do anymore that I'm aware of. Mm-hmm. So I saw some, although actually I'm trying to think who I saw when I was here. I don't remember, but I know I did see The Who and Bruce Springsteen. But I mean, that was a big deal. I mean, because that was one of the bigger venues around.
It's the place where Elvis shook, people fell in love, and engineers used the latest technology.
The Murphy Center, home to many basketball games, graduations, but most importantly, memories.
If you were sitting in this seat over 40 years ago, then you would have had the opportunity to see world-renowned artists such as Whitney Houston, the Eagles, and even Elvis 5 times. But if you didn't get that chance, well, then you're in luck. MTSU might be bringing back this musical tradition.
Students listened to their favorite artist at discounted prices, and some even fell in love. Nancy and Sam Bagwell sat in the exact same seats that they were in for Chicago's concert in 1973.
But yeah, this would have been about what it was.
Charles Pigg, the engineer that helped build the Murphy Center, shows why the Murphy Center is such a special venue.
The whole building, the facility was a big, big PR factor in this community. Thousands of people came through just to see, just to look.
The acoustics here are just phenomenal, and they have been since day one.
The Al Gore Research Center still has contracts and memorabilia from the past. Some of the names you may recognize.
In fact, when Elvis was here, I got calls from all over people. People called me I didn't even know. One, can you get me tickets? And my daughters to this day can't believe that I didn't go to Elvis Presley, you know.
Elvis was not the only one who made someone fall in love in the Murphy Center.
But he's always been a romantic, and this was where we fell in love. I'm ready to come back to another concert here at Murphy Center.
They were not these movable. Having large concerts once again in the Murphy Center could greatly impact the city of Murfreesboro, both economically and culturally.